Hey there, teachers. Welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Claudia, and I'm a fourth grade teacher. Today is Monday, September the 15th. We are beginning our 5th week of school. We've been in school for about 21 days now. I'm hoping that I can vlog this morning without any interruptions. I've had to close my classroom blinds. That way no one comes and knocks on my door and maybe they think I'm not here. In my previous video, I had mentioned that I had a lot to talk about. I actually do. The first 2 weeks of school have been full of surprises. Some tough moments and some really sweet ones. And I'd like to share a little of both. In this video, I'm sharing what my school year has looked like so far. I know I'm not the only one whose school year has started out differently than what expected, and I'm hoping to show you how we're working through it, and maybe it will give you an idea or some encouragement. Before school even started, I knew that I would have 2 students who have unique needs that would be placed in my class. During the meet and greet, both parents showed up. This was the day before school started. They were really supportive. They gave me a heads up of what their children might need. And I thought I had it all figured out, that I was ready to go. And the reality is always different once kids show up. You know, it's 26 kids, myself, no extra help. I've really had to rely on my routines as well as my students stepping up. One of my students, I'm going to call them Student A, is on the spectrum. During the first 2 weeks of school, Student A was having some major meltdowns, going through some really tough emotions, to the point where they're yelling out that everyone hates me and would basically shut down for 2 hours. On calmer days, this particular student would be out of their seat, or playing with items, or just slipping into pretend play and not joining in on the lesson. So I've had to rely on mom for support. We have been in constant contact, which I truly love. She reached out to their behavioral therapist, and the therapist had asked if they could come to my classroom in the morning and observe for about 2 hours. I was like, sure, come on in. Let me know what I can do to help make sure that this particular student thrives in my class and feels like they are part of my community. So they came and they sat in for about 2 hours. Then at recess break, the therapist and I sat down and we had a discussion about Student A. They were really impressed at how calm and structured my classroom was, the routines that I had set in place. They did notice the constant off-task behavior of this particular student and had suggested that I try a self-monitoring checklist. So here is the self-monitoring checklist that I created. There are 3 blocks of time, 2-hour intervals, and I set simple goals such as, expressing your feelings calmly, following directions, staying in seat, and they also get modified academic tasks also written on here. For each interval of time, they can earn something as simple as a sticker, or what this student really likes is a coloring page. And so I write that in here. And after each time frame, we sit down and we discuss whether or not they met their goals. And if they did earn their reward, I give them 10 minutes. For example, if it's a coloring page to color, I set the timer. Once the timer is up, then we proceed to the second block of time. Most days my student is able to earn 1 to 2 rewards. I'll be honest, it's not 100%, but it does give them ownership as well as motivation to keep going. I'm thinking of switching over to visual cues, maybe do that for a couple of weeks and then come back to this task here. I'm also thinking of implementing a like reset job. I know my student tends to get overwhelmed, and I can't allow my student just to go outside and, go for a walk and take a deep breath. I'm thinking of something where I arrange with a colleague or someone for the office that when I'm noticing this student just being really overwhelmed and the mood is changing, that person knows that it's that time. And so I'll just have the student deliver like a message of some sort. And I am noticing the trust. We are building a connection. The student will come and gravitate over towards my kidney area and just want to sit here. And that's okay. Sometimes they need the space, and sometimes their classmates who sit with student A at their table also needs the space. But I do let my student know that if I'm working with a group of students during small group instruction, that is not the time to come and have a seat to complete their work. They're going to have to be patient and wait until I'm done. This class has really surprised me. They are really empathetic, and I don't think I've ever had a class like this. Many times I notice my students helping out by redirecting student A. They'll point to the checklist. They won't be verbal about it, but they know that just pointing to the checklist is a good reminder. Sometimes they'll politely say, hey, take your seat, or, let's finish this, I'll help you. And I don't think I've ever had a class like that before. And what they do doesn't go unnoticed. I do give them Caught Being Awesome tickets. Here at our school site, we have a school-wide behavior system, and each set of teachers has these tickets that go into a Monday raffle. And I have been rewarding these students just so they know that I'm aware of what they're doing and I truly appreciate their help. This student also has strong sound sensitivities like singing and humming. And in a class of 26, that is really challenging. And of course, not everyone gets it, and that's okay. I've actually developed some lessons on empathy that we've been working on for the last 3 weeks. First, we looked at some pictures of students, and we were trying to gather clues as to how that particular student or students were feeling. And once we gathered their feelings, we talked about what would you do in that situation. After a week's worth of showing different pictures during our breakfast in the classroom, I had students, they could write or draw a way that they could continue to show empathy. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a glimpse of my slides. I collected those pieces of paper. We created an empathy chart. This empathy chart stays up and it shows all the different ways that we can show empathy. And this chart is a reminder for student A as well as the class so that when we have those moments, we could just kind of point over to the chart, take a look. Is there anything there that can help us in that moment? The following week, students were given what would you do scenarios. On the back, there was a situation, and together, each pair of students would work through how they would respond. And throughout the week, I gave students each different cards. They talked about it. We would come back together as a class and talk about it. And then just last week, I read Each Kindness by Jacqueline Woodson. I would read a couple of pages, and when students noticed that there was a spot where Chloe could have shown kindness, I had them do the heart emoji with their hands. We would stop. I would write the moment in the story, and then I would have students tell me, what would you do in this situation? So this chart I have up as well that students can go back as a reference and a reminder of different ways to show empathy. And now there's student B, who is also on the spectrum. Student B is actually thriving. When I first introduced my classroom jobs and I gave all the different roles that I have in my classroom, student B was very adamant about being my teacher's assistant. Student B filled out the application and gave me the many reasons as to why they deserve to be my teacher's assistant. Every day until I chose someone, Student B was giving me convincing reasons. Of course, I picked Student B to be my teacher's assistant. It has taken some time learning the responsibilities because of my students' unique needs. Um, I trained this particular student to answer my phone. The first couple of days was a little rough. They were a little confused, but they have, the hang of it now. The one thing with student B that I do need to work on as a classroom teacher with this particular student is when they are speaking to an adult or another classmate, sometimes the things that they say, it's not that it's not appropriate, but it could come off as hurtful. So that is something that we are working through. They may not completely understand. With this student, I'm also noticing a connection right away. I'm building trust. After like the third day of school, I was given a set of gel pens. Then the following week, student B made a cute little ring out of rubber bands. Those small gestures really tell me that I am connecting with my student, both my students. So if I had to sum up what we've learned so far as a class, I would say it's patience, empathy, and flexibility. If you ever had students who have completely reshaped the way your classroom runs, I'd like to hear how you're building classroom community. Drop your ideas in the comment section below. And if this has given you a little encouragement or an idea to try, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be sharing more of my day-to-day stories as the year goes on.